Do 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 do. Hey, how you doing? What's up? I don't know if you know this or not. Some of you do that have got a twist in my microphone cord. I've actually been translating ancient Pali now for, God, I'm getting old. A long, long time. God, it's been what? It's been 2 decades plus now. Wow, how time flies, right? Um, Anyways, the pre-sectarian language, specifically Prakrit is, but Pali texts are the pre-sectarian corpus of original Buddhism before the Theravadins came along. Those are those yellow-robed guys, by the way, that you see in Southeast Asia, Laos, Burma, Thailand, Ceylon, and parts of India. The Theravadins actually, of course, are materialists. They don't actually follow doctrine. They actually follow Abhidhamma, which is a post-sectarian creation that's used as a filter to interpret everything that was originally stated. By the way, they mention it's in Brahmi Prakrit on the Pillars of King Ashok, which is somewhere around the 4th century BCE, which of course are pre-sectarian corpus, mentions the 5 Nikayas. And I'm actually not interested in religion. I've actually said religions are evil. They're kind of evil through and through. And I'm actually not attacking Buddhism here, but the original article is actually extremely beautiful. It's kind of like a diamond. However, it's been shat on for thousands of years by these, these sectarian religious fools, and they're not actually interested in what the original says. They actually would say that they are, but for example, the most key point in doctrine of original Buddhism is the definition and the meaning and the context of one word, anatta, or in Sanskrit, the term would be ANATMAN. And it is never used in a pejorative fashion in Pali. I know all 576 occurrences, all 22 compounds of the words, and I can actually say, not egotistically, that there's nobody on planet Earth that knows more about this specific word in its use and existence and doctrine than myself. I've actually got a link in an article below that you could download that I wrote on the specific term, and I list all the occurrences and the compounds and talk about it and give countless citations. And here's an example of why religions are so sick and evil. And I'm going to only use, and I'm not singling out Buddhism, but I mean, of course, the original article, when he was asked, what do you want to call your teachings? And it was Samyutta Nikaya 5.5, he said, my teachings should be called Brahmayana, which is path to the absolute, by the way. Of course, the term Buddhism didn't come until much, 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 much later. Is this old paradigm called dog in the manger. And it's kind of like how the Catholic Church, as just one example, will protect the interpretation. This, of course, is where Martin Luther. Everybody should actually download the movie. Of course, Martin Luther himself was evil in several regards because he was kind of heinous and a bit of a wretched person on some of the stuff that he wrote. But one thing he was dead on about was his attack of the Catholic Church and how that, the stuff that they espoused in Catholicism was completely antithetical to what the actual Bible said. And I don't actually care about the Bible, and I don't actually care about Buddhism or any other frigging religions. All religions are fundamentally evil and, pretty sick and deranged. I mean, they are. And I'll give you a primary example on one thing that I'm an expert on. And like I said, there's nobody that knows more about the term anatta or anatman than myself. Like you could take Wikipedia, for example, or you could take countless forums where you would discuss points of doctrine. They don't want you actually posting facts and logic and doctrinal citations. They don't want that. Myself and a couple of other friends, one of the guys, a professor, he moved to Thailand years ago. I haven't heard from him. But we would actually alter the Wikipedia article, and of course Wikipedia is evil because there's no such thing as truth by consensus, and that's what Wikipedia is that you take the consensus of a massive rabble of unintelligent morons, and that is what you use as your reference for what Wikipedia says or doesn't say. And we alter the Wikipedia article on anatta, and we actually did it hundreds of times. It actually became ludicrous. It's like, why do we keep doing this? It's like, well, here's a specific doctrinal reference. Here's the original Pali passage. This is a translation. The belief and I'm just using anatta as a window of how sick and evil religions are. People, countless throngs throughout the entire world, think they know what that word is, and if you do a Google search on it, the top 500 references, the top 20 pages, also they say, well, anatta is a Buddhist doctrine which says that there is no soul. Well, that's not anywhere in doctrine. That's complete and total bullshit. It's pure crap. It's not true. There's no such doctrinal passage anywhere to be found. The term is not used in a pejorative fashion. The one time where in doctrine the anatta is defined is Samyutta Nikaya 3.196, and it goes, anatta, Lord, what does the word anatta mean? And it says, in the Pali, it says, rupa anatta, veda anatta, sana anatta, sankara anatta, vijnana anatta, isakaya namisvata. And I know you don't know what ancient Pali is. It's been a dead language now for thousands of years, but it simply says that the psychophysical, i.e. the corporeal forms, feelings, perceptions, these are not the soul. If I were to stupidly, and you're smart enough to understand, if I said that this is not the soul and this is not the soul, would you stupidly say, well, this guy says that there's no such thing as the soul? Well, no, you would say, the only thing he said was that this is not, this is, by the way, is called Indian neti, or not this, not that. It's apophatic methodology for getting to the subject of the matter. It is an apophatic methodology of coming into synthesis or theurgic proximity to the soul by objective negation. So it's not only a statement that this is not the soul and that's not the soul, it is actually also an apophatic methodology that is meant to be literally engaged by the person seeking wisdom or proximity to the soul. Because the body doesn't have a soul. That's not to say that I'm actually saying that there's no soul. I'm saying that there's no soul in the body, just as there's no effing radio signal in the radio. Do you know that there's no radio, there's no little people inside your television set either, right? There's no actual fire in this display. That would not be saying that there's no such thing as fire. I'm saying this is not really fire. This is a mirage. It's a hologram. It's not literally a hologram, but it kind of hologram. But this is how stupid all these silly-ass religions are, and this is one really good example because I'm the expert on this one example, more so an expert than anybody on earth on this one word, every occurrence of it, where it's used, why it's used. Like I said, download my article below on this topic. It's actually a great little read. But like if you go to Wikipedia, it says, well, anatta means that there is no soul because anatta means no soul. It's never used that way. It's an adjective. So rupa, this is not the soul, that's not the soul, this is not the soul, that's not. It is never used as a standalone. Yeah? The actual standalone in Pali is a compound, which is natata, which literally means that there is no soul, and that of course is considered heresy. Asti nasti, by the way, which means in ancient Pali, there is or there isn't, is of course a fool's debate. Is there one? Isn't there one? This doesn't get to the heart of the matter. It doesn't bring you into proximity. It doesn't bring you into synthesis or theurgy or connection to same. And this is how stupid, like I say, this is just a window into all of them, how stupid religions are, but specifically the Buddhists. It's like, I'll give them the doctrinal passage. I'll give them the original Pali. It's like, no, this term does not mean no soul. It's like, well, that's your opinion. No, it's not my opinion. Everywhere that this term is used, anatta, or a compound of anatta, it is never used in a pejorative fashion to say that there's no soul. All, by the way, those yellow-robed monks that you see wandering around Thailand, Burma, Laos, Ceylon, India, those are Theravadins, which are originally called Sarvastivadins. Sarvastivada literally means this is all there is ism. In other words, it's atomism. It's materialism. They literally think that there is no soul, and the nirvana is like flushing yourself in every fashion and facet down the cosmic toilet. Like that to them is nirvana. Nirvana, they literally say that nirvana is like blowing out a candle. You're just like a fart in the wind, and that the ultimate attainment is to blow yourself out. There are countless things that actually contradict, even by the definition of the Theravadins, contradict the beliefs of the Theravadins, which is not based in doctrine. It would be like, and I'm going to give you an example, like the Bible, of course, would be the ultimate reference for a Christian, but imagine like Christians were really crazy and that the reference would not be the Bible anymore, but this latter-day commentarial garbage. It's like, that's what you reference, as to whether something is true or not true. And that's what the Abhidhamma is for the Theravadins. It's a collection of these sectarian corpuses that post-date Buddhism by many, many, many centuries. And of course, Christianity has countless examples. There's like the Book of Mormon. There's like the new Bible. Not that I'm attacking Mormon, but all religions have these crazy, silly paradigms that are mirrored throughout different religions where there's an original doctrine, but there's a new, improved version. There's a new, improved version. Specifically, if you're going to actually have a debate on a religion, then it's always sola scriptura, which means, and this is what Martin Luther, destroyed the Catholic Church on, is that it's like, no, the Bible's the original reference, not what the Pope said or some commentarialist said. And the same is true of Buddhism and of all religions. And I'm not interested so much in doctrine, however I am, but the point of reference is the original materials. Yeah, the original materials. And there is a pre-sectarian corpus when it came to Buddhism, and it's called the Five Nikayas. And it's even mentioned, like I said, on the Pillars of King Ashoka. He mentions in Brahmi Prakrit, it mentions Panch Nikaya, or the Five Nikayas. The Digha Nikaya, Majjhima, Samyutta, Anguttara Nikaya, and the Khuddaka Nikaya comprise of several different books, like the Dhammapada Pali, which I translated, the Udana, the Iddhivutaka, on and on and on. But this notion of no soul, or that Buddhism teaches that there's no, this is absolute BS. There is no such passage, and it teaches just the opposite. It's Atta Dipa Viharati, dwell with the soul as your light. The only thing that's actually called eternal is the soul. The only thing that's actually said to be emancipated from the five Nikayas, the five Khandhas, is the Chitta, which of course is the, in English we would say Spiritus Sanctum is the Chitta. In the Greek, the term would be nous in Greek, it would be Chitta in ancient Prakrit. But as an expert, just using this one word, and the Theravadins, by the way, admit that upon this definition rises or falls the entire structure of what they think Buddhism is or is not. And you actually cannot have a true religion which is always based in the Spiritus Sanctum liberation ontology of the true self, not the existential self, by denying the soul. Then it just becomes materialistic spiritual suicide without the spirit. And because they are materialists by definition. But like I said, if you go to Wikipedia or any of these other sites, you type in anatta or anatman, and say, well, anatta is a unique Buddhist doctrine, and it means there is no soul. Well, that's complete and absolute BS. The Vivekachudamuni, the Upadisasahasri, and even the principal Upanishads talk about the term ANATMAN. But it is never used in a pejorative. Nobody that follows those texts, are deluded to think that that means that there is no soul. It just says this is not the soul, that's not the soul. It's an apophatic methodology for subjective synthesis. By objective negation, one comes closer proximity to subjective synthesis. This is the metaphysics of theurgy. This is the metaphysics of true spiritual ontology of all forms of logical, intelligent, and wise monistic monism. Original Buddhism, the original Pythagoreans, the Neoplatonists, specifically Plotinus, Numenius, Syrianus, on and on and on. Iamblichus. Yeah, but these people are fools. I mean, this is... And people, like I said, when we altered the Wikipedia article, we just kept doing it hundreds of times, but we weren't, destroying it. We were just like, here's a citation. This is an exact citation. Anatta is never used in a pejorative fashion. It simply says, this is not the soul, that's not the soul. Oh, and the people that are into that are into religion, they would not put up with that crap at all. They would go in there and completely rewrite. They would have hissy fits. Me and several other people would rewrite the article. And everybody out there in the world of religion, when religions are sick and evil, they are. If you hate me for saying that, I don't care. Religions are sick and evil. They would have a hissy fit. A full-on hissy. We would write articles, we would post in forums like, that's not true. The doctrinal passage says boom, 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 boom. Oh, they hate it when you give a book and verse and the original Pali and the translation. It's like, it doesn't say that anywhere at all. Absolutely nowhere does it say what you're saying. It's like, no, 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 Buddhism teaches that there is no soul. It's like, well, go find me a doctrinal passage where it says that. It doesn't exist, actually. It says just the opposite. And saying that this is not the soul, that is not the soul, is not a denial of the soul. Neither is me saying that there's no soul in the body is a denial of the soul either, because the body doesn't have a soul. Has implies possession. The body does not have a soul. There is no signal in the radio. There's no fire in this actual display. There's no little people inside your television set. Yeah? This is the consubstantiality and the proximity of the signal or to the animus, kind of like the puppet strings in the puppet. Yeah, there's no puppeteer in the puppet, but the puppeteer. This, of course, gets into the identification phenomenology that makes up all monism. But religions are evil. There's a huge distinction between metaphysics and spirituality and religion. Religion is full of a bunch of brainwashed, deranged people. I believe, you believe, I believe. Anything that follows the words I believe is, of course, BS. And there's all these Buddhists, and I'm not attacking the Buddhists, so I kind of am. They're just an example of countless. They believe in this crazy BS that is not original to Buddhism at all. It's like the original texts say no such nonsense about the denial of the soul. They say just the opposite. And as I've said over and over again already in this video, there's nobody on this earth that knows more about the term, the definition, the occurrence, on and on, of the term anatta and ANATMAN than myself. Nobody. Okay? Nobody. It's never used in a pejorative fashion. So, the entire basis of modern Buddhism that teaches that there's no soul has no doctrinal validity. It is sectarian poppycock that's been built up now for nearly 2,000, well, not 2,000 years, but nearly 2,000 years, by these latter-day sectarian religionists, which is what they are. These crazy spin-off religions that kind of like weeds that grew on an originally well-kept lawn, had flowers and grass, and the original teacher dies, and then the weeds and the garbage started growing in. It's like, this is the original article. It's like, no, this is the crap that came later. This is literally the crap that came later after the original founder of this hardcore metaphysics passed away. No, this is original. No, this is commentarialist nonsense. There's no such thing as a doctrine of no soul. That doesn't exist anywhere within doctrine. From the premise of Buddhism, I'd give it like a perfect paradigm, which sounds so completely ludicrous. As far as the soul is concerned and the definition of anatta, it would be like every Christian on earth. A Christian, of course, is someone who believes in Christ, the New Testament, yada yada. It'd be like every Christian on earth denying Jesus. It's like, I thought you followed the Bible and you're a Christian. Yeah, but we don't believe in Jesus. I was like, well, that's crazy. That's really what the Buddhist paradigm, perfect metaphor for what Buddhism is regarding the soul and the definition of anatta or anatman, whether it be Pali or Sanskrit, doesn't make any difference. It'd be exactly like a Christian. It's like, I carry my Bible everywhere we go to Sunday school, but it's like, you're a Christian. Yeah, but we don't believe in Jesus. It's completely ludicrous. This is why I really have I really have no respect for religions at all. There's a huge difference between religion and metaphysics, and this is like a little window into that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely week, and peace out, Girl Scout. Lux Veritas. If you like these videos, please click the link below, and my article link is below also. Okay? Bye. Good.